Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Picture Christian. Updates.
Yeah, congratulations.
What? Like when you look at your finger. Okay, no. Great, thank you. All right, everyone. Good evening and welcome to the July 6, 2026 Perinton Town Board meeting. I call this meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Miss Sarah Masterson. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Sarah. I'm Jen Townsend, your town supervisor, and I'm going to start my introductions here at the far side of the town board table with Councilman David Masterson, Councilwoman Emily Mishler, Councilman Michael Foligno, and Councilwoman Meredith Stockman Broadbent, and Town Clerk Andrew Gilchrist. Staff who are participating tonight, at the far end, we have our town board student representative, Finley Driscoll, Executive Assistant to the Supervisor, Melissa Martins, Director of Planning, Mike Dozer, our Commissioner of Recreation and Parks, Jeff Nutting, our Volunteer Board Coordinator, Chris Mueller, Director of Finance, Matthew Ball, and our other Director of Finance for tonight, Mr. Brian Dick. Our Commissioner of Public Works, Jason Kennedy, our Attorney to the Town, John Mancuso, and our Director of Safety and Security is in the audience, John Overacker, and our Deputy Clerk, Shelley O'Hearn, is with us today too. Hi, Shelley. Okay, town board meetings are recorded and may be transcribed utilizing artificial intelligence technology. We're going to start off with our meeting minutes for June 15th. You all should have received a copy of the meeting minutes. Have you had a chance to review them? Are there any questions or discussion? No, if there's no changes, can I have a motion to accept?
Aye.
All right. Meredith?
So moved.
And Emily. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. Okay, next is the audit. Has the Finance Committee had a chance to review the audit? Do you have a recommendation?
I have reviewed the bills and recommend them for payment.
Awesome. Any discussion? No, if none, can I have a motion to accept the audit?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries as well. All right. First up, we have a request from our Director of Safety and Security, John Overacker, to appoint Thomas Kyleman to the position of Security Supervisor. As outlined in the memo you've received, the Safety and Security Department has experienced significant growth in its responsibilities over the past several years. The proposed Security Supervisor position would provide day-to-day management of the town's part-time safety and security officers, respond to emergencies on town property, and assist with implementing town and department policies and procedures. The position will also allow the director to focus on broader strategic initiatives like employee training, emergency preparedness, risk reduction efforts, and organizational improvements. Director Overacker is recommending Thomas Kyleman for the position. Mr. Kyleman currently serves as a part-time safety and security officer here at the town and brings extensive experience in security operations, emergency response, staff supervision, and emergency planning. Are there any questions or comments from the board about Mr. Kyleman or this appointment? Okay, if there's no further questions or comments, I'll entertain a motion that the town board appoint Thomas Kyleman to the position of Security Supervisor effective July 7th, 2026, with the terms as stated in the memo and subject to the budget amendments presented for board consideration.
So moved.
Foligno?
Second.
Stockman Broadbent, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Okay, next up, we have a public hearing for the Fairport Rehab and Nursing Center. This is regarding the proposed amendment to the Fairport Rehab and Nursing Center special use permit for the property located at 4646 9 Mile Point Road. The proposal would divide the current special use permit into two separate permits, one for the skilled nursing facility and one for the existing senior apartment community known as DeLand Acres. As part of the proposal, the applicant is seeking approval for a two-lot subdivision of the property, creating one parcel for the senior housing units and one parcel for the nursing facility. At this time, I'll open the public hearing, and we'll start with Mr. Goldman.
Good evening, Madam Supervisor, members of the board. My name is Jerry Goldman. I'm the attorney and agent for 4646 9 Mile Road LLC, who is the owner of the Fairport Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, better known by most people as Fairport Baptist Home, and the DeLand Acres subdivision, which is located, both of which are located on the northeast corner of 9 Mile Point Road and Whitney Road. The property, as the supervisor pointed out, basically has two uses which fit under the public buildings and grounds classification under the town code. The rehabilitation center is has a skilled nursing facility, and it's a 142 bed nursing facility at that location. But in addition, on the same lot right now is a 42 unit townhouse development called DeLand Acres, which goes out to Whitney Road. The proposal that we have this evening is for two separate special permits. One special permit for the nursing facility and one for the senior housing, both of which are permitted as special permit uses under the town code. As a part of this, the supervisor pointed out, there's a proposed subdivision subdividing the residential use for senior housing from the skilled nursing facility. There will be a cross-access easement, which allows people from both facilities essentially to utilize the roads as they currently are. There is no change proposed at all on the site. It is, I dare not call it an administrative request that we have this evening, but basically it's to drop a property line between the two uses. Because of that, it was deemed that we need special permits for each one, and that is appropriate. And on June 8th, there was a letter that was submitted by the project engineers, BME Associates, which does address the special permit standards. I won't go through all 11 standards, but in fact, we do meet those standards and are requesting that the board grant approval for the two special permits. I will add, since we talked about seeker before we started, that this is being handled as a coordinated review. The planning board has expressed their intent to be lead agency at their last meeting, and we've been looking for consent from the town board to the lead agency status. I believe the zoning board, because a couple of the buildings are relatively close to the property line, need a zoning variance, and the zoning board has already expressed their intent to allow the planning board to be lead agency. With that, I will stop my presentation and we'll be able to answer any questions that the board may have.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman. What is the reasoning for why they want to do this? Is it because business-wise, there's a difference in the skilled nursing center versus the townhomes? Is there just a little background for why they would be looking?
The entity who purchased Fairport Baptist Home, we know that it's gone through a couple of people that were interested. Friendly was interested. A few other people have been interested in it. The people who are doing it are primarily nursing and skilled nursing operators. What they're looking to do is to separate it out and to sell the 42 unit property to what is basically a company that does real estate. For consistency purposes, I believe at this time it's intended that the same manager would be continuing on the site, but in fact, it will be two separate entities, two separate developments with the accessibility
Okay.
from both Whitney and 9 Mile.
So it sounds like they don't specialize in this townhome style senior living
That's
component.
That's correct.
And they're looking to sell that parcel off to someone who then does specialize in managing and maintaining those types of properties.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay. I'll open it up to the board for any questions.
Yeah, so and please correct me if I'm wrong, it's my understanding that the Deland Acres part is like an assisted rent facility. Is that correct?
I believe that's the case. It is senior housing, and I believe that there's an affordable component to it.
Yeah. Do we have any guarantees or any ways of board to ensure that that will continue after the sale of this property?
Well, we can be assured that it will remain senior housing, certainly, because regular market rate apartments, non-age restricted, are not allowed under the approval that we're getting. The approval that we're seeking is under your code's public buildings and grounds, which only is applicable if it is senior housing.
Okay, I'm sorry. Could you translate that? Or
So the current zoning for these parcels, once subdivided, would only permit senior housing with a special use permit. To convert it to market rate, and Mr. Dozier can correct me, but I believe they need a rezoning of the parcel to a different district altogether to convert that to market rate. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it would still have some affordability attached to it.
So affordability in the context of any subsidized housing, I can't speak to whether that would be necessarily permanent, but the senior living component of that housing, that it would be only for seniors, would have to remain in place.
Okay, so
That's
but
correct.
Pursuant to the
it's
special use
grants,
permit.
lifetime.
Yeah.
That's correct. I don't know whether there are tax credit financing, whether it's under an affordable housing program with the state, but the nature of the units themselves tend to lean to it being an affordable product.
Okay, gotcha.
I will confirm that there are affordable options in DeLand Acres currently.
Okay.
Yes, that's true.
So that would be important to make sure we still have that as an option. Yeah.
Yeah.
Councilman Flino, any thoughts?
Well, I think ultimately, this would probably benefit especially the residents of the 142 bed skilled nursing area. And I remember when this came before our board, when we were setting the public hearing date, and we did talk with the chair of the planning board, confirmed, because we had some of these questions. And just to reiterate again, that is just, like you said, a new boundary, so that by the state and the requirements for care, to make sure that the folks in the skilled nursing facility have got the licensures and the regulatory oversight, where the other one would be independent senior living. And it's can be cumbersome for one company to carry that same level of licensure and liability for all of it if people don't need it in those senior townhomes. So they can focus on their specialty. But I think that was the biggest thing, is reiterating that there's not going to be any additional development or any new units in the DeLand Acres portion of the property. That was one of my biggest concerns, that they were going to try to expand to would be the northeast with that new parcel and try and put another spur. Did we rotate that 90 degrees? Well, I guess it would be lower left corner where there's
Right.
that spur, other lower left corner. Yeah. So now it'll be lower right.
It's rotating.
Yeah,
rotating.
Shape game. But that was my biggest concern, is making sure that,
Okay.
oh, you're fine.
But they can't, they're not able to.
Okay,
add
right
any
there.
though.
We can stop. So that was my biggest concern about this subdivision, and having two different owners, and making sure that if this parcel gets sold, that the new owner is not going to look for an extension of that spur. It'd be on the upper left side now, below the green bar, as it
Mhm.
makes that curve. Nope, down some. Right at the, where the road comes from the green bar on,
Yeah.
to the left of your hand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Either way, would they be able to add units
So
without coming
they-
back in
they
front of
would-
us?
My expectation would be they need an amendment to the special use permit from this board. They need site plan approval
Right.
from the planning board, and they probably would need one or more variances from the zoning board, given the dimensional characteristics of that vacant property. So I'm guessing 3 approvals would be needed.
They'd have to come back
Wait,
before us.
oh,
Yeah.
well, I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure. I know I kind of felt we did that and cleared it, but I just, during the public hearing, wanted to reiterate that again. That's
Great.
all three
One
things.
thing that I should clarify also, there are 42 units there. The letter of intent that was written says 41 on it. There are 42 units on the site.
Great, thank you.
Caretaker property.
So would that be the same for the rehab center as well, as far as future development on that? I mean, if the SUP is granted, would
Yes,
they also have to come back?
Yes.
If-
Absolutely.
Okay, okay.
yes.
That was one of my
The
concerns.
intention, the subdivision is triggering new special use permits so that each property as subdivided can operate independently of one another with their own special use permits. So the parameters this board places upon each of those will necessarily not allow expansion unless they come back to amend them at a later date.
Thank you for explaining that. Thank you.
I know this property quite well. I worked at the nursing home in high school.
Ah.
So I'm just curious, the easement would be required because now we have 2 separate parcels, and it was not required prior because it was all one parcel.
That's
Correct.
correct.
Okay.
That's correct. And the intention is to allow primarily the Deland Acres people to be able to get out to 9 Mile.
Got it. Okay.
And the easement will run to, you're familiar with the property.
Yep.
The northernmost driveway. The easement does not, the easement that we're thinking of and proposing does not cut across the front of the nursing home building.
Okay.
It's just that second driveway and straight back.
Perfect. I do think that by doing this, we would be allowing that skilled nursing portion to operate at a higher level. And I think that anyone who knows anyone in a loved one or a family member who has been in a skilled nursing home, they are really struggling. And
Yeah.
if this can do that, I am in support of that. And all the while, hopefully keeping the affordability of those the senior living condo units. And I know we're saying here we can't guarantee that, but
Mhm.
definitely keeping them senior is super important. So, sounds like this might be a win-win-win.
Yeah, we have people that are expert in their areas doing their thing. We
Right.
have the skilled nursing people doing skilled nursing, and we have landlord residential people doing the landlord residential thing.
Right,
Great.
great.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Goldman? No? Thank you. All right, I'll open it up to the public. Is anyone here to comment? Whichever one of you first wants to come up. Oh, yeah, we can, absolutely, we can assist you. Yep. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you very much. My name is Arlene Harrington. I live at 7 Deland Acres. I've lived there for the past 10 years. My daughter and I were here a week ago, spoke to the planning board. Just that we come and talk to the town board.
Okay.
We're in favor of the 42 townhomes being sold off. The hope is that somebody local will buy, and we'll have somebody to go to, so we don't have to go through what we've gone through for the past 2 years. I'm going to give you 2 instances.
Great.
This past winter, we had numerous times where we had up to 3 inches of ice on the driveway. You have lots of people that live there that have difficulty walking. I couldn't leave my home. They used a leaf blower to try to clear the sidewalk off. The conditions that we're paying almost $2,000 a month for are very bad. I've lived in Perinton for 60 years. And this was the first time I've ever been embarrassed that I live in Perinton.
Oh, wow.
We fell through the cracks 2 years ago,
Mhm.
and nobody's peeked down the crack to see who was there. And we're two of the people that are there.
Okay.
We have a neighbor who, if she was able to get here, would be here. And she's asked me to speak for her too. She lives at 20 Deland Acres, and her name is Judy Nielsen. Judy has two things she's very worried about. She has two dogs, and we've had no spraying done for anything, including ticks. Very concerned about the ticks. This past winter, it enabled her dogs to go outside to do their duty. She would have to push against the door until it opened enough so the dogs could get out because the snow packed the door closed. Judy had polio when she was a child, and she walks bent over, so she's looking at the ground as she's walking. And this lady is pushing against the door to try to get her door open. This is terrible. Really, I've lived here for 60 years. This is a wonderful town.
Yeah.
But we've just been overlooked. I really hope somebody local takes it. The person that runs the property management firm does nothing.
Okay.
You can hardly get a hold of him. When you do get a hold of him, he doesn't do anything. When you tell him you've got 3 inches of ice in your driveway, he basically says, so sad, too bad.
Mhm.
And I've got one question which has nothing to do with this. I was looking at the Facebook this morning at the proclamation that you handed over for your boom thing.
Mhm.
Where do I get a copy of it? I thought that was wonderful.
Oh, good. We can send you a copy of it. Yeah. Yeah. Reach out to us and we'll get you a copy. Yeah.
I'm going to turn it over to my daughter who lives with me at 7 Deland Acres.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Harrington.
My name is. Grew up here since I was 4 years old. I moved in with my mom about 3.5, almost close to 4 years ago. When she first moved in, it was pristinely kept. And my first job was airport guest home too. And it was just wonderful. All the way around, not just, the property itself, which also was in the leases that all the outside work would be done. None of that is done. Now, since I've been there, and I've been so confused since I've been there because I didn't even know, honestly, who the hell owned this place. We were only given this man's name, Mike. I would call him all the time. You guys hear me?
It's for the folks online.
Oh, okay, got it, sorry. I finally took over because he would never call back my mother and all the other people. I'm in touch with a lot of the people that live there. I'm the kid on the block. It's so weird. But anyway, and they would never get any phone calls either. I'm sorry that a lot of them aren't here. I wish they were. But anyway, to make a long story short, the property isn't maintained. I would be out there, especially past couple of years. This past year, I was out there anywhere shoveling from 3 to 6 hours at a time. And that would be the snow. They would say, well, we'll be out there every, 2 inches? But that's the problem was it would be just under 3 inches, God bless me, and then and they wouldn't come out, and then we'd get another, and then underneath all of that, it was ice. I mean, it was awful. Really awful. And again, 3 to 6 hours. I'm no spring chicken anymore. I fell a couple of times really hard, and let alone, I feel overwhelmed because I need and want to help everybody else. I'm there for my mom, but these people could be my mother. I know a bunch of them, and most of them, I would say at least 95% of the people could not get out of their homes all winter long.
Wow.
deliver the mail because they couldn't get close enough to the mailboxes.
Yeah.
With the post office.
Right.
Right, and it just goes on and on. Now, I also, we have terrible yellow jacket problems. And I'm gonna try to make this short as possible. Kept calling them. They sprayed, I don't know what they sprayed. They never got rid of the yellow jackets, but it killed all my plants and vegetables, everything dead. I got stung and it was bad because I'm allergic. I mean, just, it was bad.
Yeah.
Like, even when I went to my doctor, it's like, oh my God, and I'm like, I'm not supposed to say that. But anyway, it's just battle. And I even gave up because I'm also still working. I have 6 grandchildren. I am busy all the time. And I knew I would be literally losing my temper. Now, the one time I lost my temper, when the first spell began, he came over, drove like a bat out of hell, literally flew over, but we get nowhere. And, I want to read you this letter that we got.
Remember, we were here last Monday, there was nothing from this guy until Friday, just before we came here.
The people still that live there don't realize, especially with this letter that came out, that the place is even being sold. Okay, so here we go. Dear residents, if you may have noticed, we are going to legally separate the practice home from the land use. Town of Fairport has sent out notices recently regarding this, and we are reaching out to all of our residents to inform you of this and shed some light on why we are going through with this. The land acres was owned by the same organizations that home for many years. In 2024, Southern Baptist Home was acquired by another company, still don't know what company or the name, or a phone number to contact. And they decided to hand off the residential management of the land acres in Rose Hollow to us. And since then, FPM Realty LLC, along Chris, Joe, Michelle, and I have looked after the property. The Baptist Home and the land acres have been in practice been 2 individual entities for the past 19 months or so. The effort to legally separate the 2 locations is just putting into actuality what has been in place in practice since 2024. Once the land acres from Baptist Home are separated, nothing changes at all, which is horrible. As we are still being operated to managing the land acres as before, while Baptist Home runs themselves as before. So that doesn't mean to say, hey, this place is going to be sold, and no, not everything is going to stay the same, but we don't even want it to stay the same. It's awful. Again, as we have the past 2 years or so, we coordinate folks at Baptist Home as needed, as we have a good relationship with them. Nothing tangible will change. This legal process will not impact their tenants in any way whatsoever. Feel free to reach out to me with any questions or concerns. I mean, there's no getting a hold of them.
Okay.
And I don't mean to be sarcastic, but I'm being.
Okay.
It's been years.
Do we have a copy of that?
And so.
I don't have a copy. Would you mind sending?
Yeah.
Oh, you got a copy of it? Okay.
This is the first I've heard of this.
Yep.
Have that
Thank you.
in the records. Thank
Yep.
you.
I really appreciate you ladies coming and taking the time, because I've not heard from that perspective, and that is very disheartening. Is there any code enforcement action? I know it's kind of a private property, but we have to have parameters right against the public dwellings.
Yeah, certainly if there was anything that was in violation of property maintenance code or, general building code, that would be a situation where we could intervene. Certainly it's sort of reminiscent of some of the challenges that we heard from residents, at, the neighboring property
Right.
many years ago. So if there's something enforceable by way of the property maintenance or building code, certainly they can reach out to the town. And we would-
Does a
we would
resident
follow
have
that
to
up.
request that, or that?
that would be the only way we would find out is either,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
So what we're saying right now is to get our code enforcement officer with a resident request, we're trying to make that this evening, to have code enforcement come through because it's a private drive right now in a cul-de-sac. Hearing about these concerns now, and I wish I was aware of in the summer, to make sure that the maintenance company is following town code for the public dwelling of what this special use permit is, because there is certain obligations from that property owner and the maintenance company. And to have our code enforcement look and make sure, because being the Land Acres is a private drive, correct me if I'm wrong, they will not go unless we're aware of these. Yes, and I think we'll talk about it, and they're going to reach out as well, because that is the mechanism, because it's not the same as if it was like on, living on the Land Acres being a private drive. Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't have our town staff going and getting eyes on it like they would if it was a different parcel. But now that we're aware of it, and making sure that the property management group is fulfilling their obligation to the residents and abiding by code.
If you guys want to, did you sign in when you came in? Do we have your information? I can reach out to you after this too. And that's okay. I can reach out to you guys after and reach out to Mike too. So I appreciate your perspective. Yeah. Well, yeah, we'll want to, if anybody else wants to speak, we'll want to give anybody else a chance to. Are you wrapping? Okay, great.
My main concern is Mike doesn't have a clue. When we did talk, and this was a couple of years ago, he was like, he basically told me he thought that it had gone bankrupt because they plowed too much for us, I swear. And he also said, this is, what we always do. Listen, I lived in an apartment for 38 years and raised 2 children, and it was never like that. And this isn't just an apartment for young people. These are all very elderly people. And the status quo and getting by with nothing and
Right.
doing nothing doesn't cut it.
No, it sounds like something needs to be adjusted for sure. So I think that's something we will follow up with. Absolutely. Yes. Thank you both for coming. Does anybody else want to speak on this parcel that's here tonight? If not, Chris, when you have a chance to check if there's anyone online. Yep, take your time. And I will make a phone call to these folks too, to see what's going on, who's managing what, because I think that's good for us to know as well.
Signed up when we came in, so if you need to brief those 5 minutes around there.
That'd be great.
We
Thanks,
do-
Ms. Harrington.
We do have someone online. Give me a second to bring him into the meeting, please. You hear us, Jill?
Yes, I am.
Okay, go ahead.
My name is Jill Johnston. I live at 257 Furman Road. I just have a question. I'm not really familiar with the current status of the nursing and rehab. Is it currently operating? Are there patients in there? And what's the occupancy rate? Because there's such a shortage of nursing home beds in our community.
I don't know the answer to that. Mr. Goldman, do you have that info?
Do not have that info relative to the current occupancy. It's been renamed Rehabilitation and Nursing Center, so I'm not sure that all the beds are
Right.
designated for in-house and permanent residents. There probably is a rehabilitation component to it, and those are people that would be in for rehab and then would leave when their rehab is completed.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jill. Anyone else?
No, we're good, man. The supervisor, we're good.
Okay. All right. If there's no further comments, then I'll close the public hearing. This evening's action is to refer the matter to the Planning Board and Conservation Board for comments, and they're part of the review. I'd also like to authorize the Planning Board to serve as lead agency for seeker, if there's no objection from the board. on that matter. Is there any questions or comments from board before moving on? Okay, if not, I'll entertain a motion to refer the application to subdivide and for the division of the special use permits for 4646 Fairport 9 Mile Point Road to Planning and Conservation Boards, authorizing planning to serve as lead agency for seeker.
So move.
Masterson and Felino? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That carries. All right, thank you. Okay, next we have another public hearing for the proposed local law amendment to Town Code Section 208-21 related to solid waste facility permits. The proposed amendment would extend the maximum term of a solid waste facility permit from 5 years to 6 years. The only change is the renewal interval. Permits issued by the Zoning Board of Appeals would expire on the 6th anniversary of issuance and could be renewed using the same process currently required for approval. The purpose of this amendment is to ensure that we have the time and ability to negotiate our host community agreement and the special use permit in tandem. We would also like the time to obtain community feedback and do some research. I was not involved in the last round of negotiations, nor was a majority of this board. So this will provide us with the time needed to do our homework before approving the permit. Well, the zoning board will approve the permit, but we think these should coincide side by side. At this time, I will be opening the public hearing. I don't have a presentation because that's as simple as it is. Does anyone from the public would like to come up and comment or ask questions about this? I don't see anyone here. Chris, is there anyone online?
No one's raised their hand, Ms. Supervisor.
Okay. There's no one. Then I will close the public hearing. This evening's action is to refer the matter to the Planning Board, Conservation Board, and to the Zoning Board for comments. Are there any questions or comments from the board?
I think it's a great idea. Like you said, it's so important, the next community host agreement that we negotiate. And I think it'd be a great idea to allow, especially you and the rest of the board and staff to be really prepared for that. So I think it's
Great.
a good idea.
Anyone else? Okay. All right. There's no further questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
Second.
Felino and Stockman Broadbent, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Okay, next up is just information. I'd just like to take a few minutes to discuss the recent changes to New York State's environmental review process under seeker and how those changes may affect projects currently before the town. As part of the state budget, amendments were adopted that create a new category of projects known as qualified actions. Unlike type 1, type 2, or unlisted actions, qualified actions are exempt from seeker review entirely. What that means in practical terms is that certain projects may no longer require an environmental assessment form, lead agency designation, coordinated review, or seeker determination. The goal of the legislation is to streamline review for certain development projects, particularly those occurring on previously developed sites. While the statutory changes are already in effect, the state has not yet provided complete implementation guidelines. As a result, there remain some questions about how certain provisions should be interpreted, including what qualifies as a previously disturbed site. We expect there will be some case-by-case analysis and additional guidance becomes available. These changes may affect several projects currently before the town. For example, the application at 1151 Pittsford Victor Road appears to qualify as a qualified action, which would eliminate the need for further seeker review on that project. Other applications, such as 347 Aralt Road, may fall into a gray area where additional analysis is needed before a determination can be made. Existing matters already in litigation, such as 1361 Marsh Road, will continue to proceed through the legal process. The most significant takeaway is that fewer projects may be subject to seeker moving forward. While that may simplify portions of the process and reduce opportunities for seeker-related legal actions, it also means that the town will need to rely even more heavily on our zoning code, special use permit criteria, comprehensive plan, and other local planning documents when evaluating projects. In many ways, this is where local planning becomes even more important. Regardless of the level of seeker review required by the state, the town still has the responsibility to carefully evaluate projects through the framework established by our local laws, planning documents, and adopted policies. Those tools will continue to guide how we assess community impacts, compatibility with surrounding neighborhoods, infrastructure considerations, and long-term planning goals. That's one reason why the work we're doing right now to review and strengthen our planning documents and code provisions is so important. As the state reduces certain seeker requirements, having clear, modern, and well-defined local standards becomes even more valuable. Good planning gives us the ability to conduct the level of review we believe is necessary for our community and provides applicants, residents, and decision makers with a predictable and transparent process. As a board, it will be important that we remain consistent in our decision-making and continue to build strong records that clearly explain the basis for our actions. I also want the public to understand that some procedural steps that they may have been accustomed to seeing during project reviews could look different in the future because of these state level changes, not because the town is conducting less review. I'd be happy to answer any questions from the board or public regarding these changes. And to be clear, the board and I have already discussed these earlier, so we have had a chance to talk through them. Does anybody have any questions regarding these? I will open it up to anyone in the audience if they have questions. Nope. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I figured that's probably what you're here for, so it could be now or after.
Actually, it's not exactly why I'm here, but I was going to speak at the public comment period about the Sustainability Advisory Board,
Mhm.
and this seems like a good example of something that
Yep.
the Sustainability Advisory Board should be heavily involved in. Any of the discussions of changes to the code that might include new environmental requirements or new environmental review before approval. Like, I'm not really sure what is in the realm of possibilities, but
Right.
it's also, anyway, that, so
Absolutely.
I still
Yeah.
have to speak about the Sustainability Advisory Board now. I'll wait till public comments to
Okay.
do that, but I guess I'm asking you to make sure that you involve them because I feel like they are a resource that we
Absolutely.
can tap.
Great. Thank you, Jenny.
Jenny, the new well-functioning sustainability board. I am the liaison for that, and part of each agenda is a board member coming and just sharing out new projects and new changes to anything that, and this would be an example of one of those. So this will be brought before them for sure.
Great. Okay, I'll move on to the next item in our agenda. We have a request from the Recreation and Parks Department regarding reimbursement of eligible expenses through Monroe County ARPA funding. Monroe County designated these funds to support youth and senior programming. To date, the town has received more than $160,000 in reimbursements through the program. This request seeks authorization to submit a voucher to Monroe County in the amount of $44,990.27 for eligible expenses incurred during the second quarter of 2026. These expenses include fitness equipment, the Lions Den accessibility study, and the creation of a sensory room at the Perinton Community Center. The fitness equipment and accessibility study were previously approved by the board, and the sensory room provides a space for individuals of all ages to relax and decompress and will support programs throughout the community center. The room will also serve as an extension of the community center lobby as needed. This request also includes budget amendments to recognize the ARPA reimbursement associated with the sensory room expenses. Are there any questions or comments from the board? And Commissioner Nutting, anything to add? Okay. Okay, if there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Mishler and Stockman Broadbent, all in favor?
Aye.
That carries. Next, we have a request from the Recreation and Parks Department to award the bid for mechanical system service and maintenance. The town board previously authorized bidding for these services in May. The bid included preventative maintenance, condenser coil power washing, and hourly service rates. 2 bids were received, and staff has determined that LMC Industrial Contractors is the lowest responsible bidder. Their 3-year cost for preventative maintenance and power washing services is $58,637, which is significantly lower than the competing bid. LMC is also the town's current service provider. According to the memo, they have performed routine maintenance appropriately and have been responsive to the town's service needs. Staff is recommending that the town award the mechanical system service and maintenance contract to LMC Industrial Contractors. Commissioner Nutting, anything to add? Okay, are there any questions or comments from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
So moved.
Masterson and Stockman Broadbent, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, that carries. Next, we have a request from the Recreation and Parks Department, another one, to authorize a professional services contract related to the replacement of rooftop HVAC units at the Perinton Community Center Aquatic Facility. This one is less fun. In 2025, the town retained Turner Engineering to evaluate rooftop units 8 and 9, which are original to the Aquatic Center and nearing the end of their useful life. Following that evaluation, it was determined that full replacement of the units along with related heating coils and heat exchanger components is the most cost-effective long-term approach. The request before us tonight is to authorize Turner Engineering to prepare the construction and bid documents needed for the project and to support the bidding process. The proposed contract amount is not to exceed $26,000, including contingency. Staff is also requesting the creation of a capital project for the eventual replacement of the units. While the design and bid document phase would occur this year, construction is anticipated to take place in 2027. The project is included in the town's capital improvement plan, and funding for this phase would come from the Building Improvement Fund, subject to a 30-day permissive referendum. Are there any questions or comments from the board or any additions, Commissioner Nutting?
I just have one question. I'm not too sure what on number 2, what in parentheses 48 means and 61 in parentheses on number 3.
On the actual memo itself.
Yes, at the bottom.
So this would be capital project number 48.
Okay.
So when the budgets, when you see those, it would be 48 dash lots of other numbers.
Okay. Thank you so much.
And then the 61 just identifies the building improvement fund is fund number 61.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Mike?
So would this include all controls, wiring? Would that be Siemens? Any upgrades to that? Would that be in that total?
That's a great question. So the professional service of the engineering documents would include building that in, but we don't have a cost estimation for part of that project.
Okay, so let's see, the construction cost report so far from that of like the 503,000, that was pre-2026 price adjustments, we'll say, by geopolitical things. And that was just the units and coils, irrelevant of any electrical or controls upgrades.
That would be for the 2 units and 2 heating coils and 1 heat exchanger.
Yeah.
That does not include the controls.
Okay, so that would be additional. And then if there was any electrical, but upgrades, because those are, what would be original? So those have got to be almost 30 years old now.
So those would be 2003.
All right. Yeah, so we'll be 24,
25.
25. I've always got to ask, is there any grant funding sources, any improvements? Because these will be more energy efficient. Is there any state or federal?
I mean, we can certainly look into that, and we regularly look at grants. I haven't seen anything that would be related to this.
Is there any, was the layout not allow for anything different, like a geothermal or any sort of like upgrade like that of these? That would be too retrofit?
I don't know enough about geothermal
Or anything
I
like
would
that, or
make
any
something
energy
that would be
efficient?
difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, certainly we talked with Turner in the original proposal about what our options are, and this was communicated as the best option.
Okay, because that's still on a hydronic and chiller. Ooh.
I don't know, Mike.
All right, I will get
I will find out and
Don't
let
worry.
you know.
I would like those documents.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, if not, I'll entertain a motion to, what are we doing here? We are approving to authorize professional service contract. And for the budget amendments as outlined in the memo. Thank you. I don't need to read them all off because they're in the memo, right? Okay. Yep. So all the budget amendments in the memo subject to a 30-day permissive referendum.
So moved.
Ms. Schler, Felino, all in favor?
Hi.
Aye, that carries. Okay, next, really just providing an update here for the town's electric vehicle charging stations. The town currently operates 10 level 2 charging stations at the Perinton Community Center, Fellows Road Park, and at Perinton Park. Up to this point, the town has either funded the installation of these stations directly or secured grant funding, while also covering the associated electricity costs. Staff is recommending that the town move to a user pay model where the costs associated with operating and managing the charging stations are borne by the individuals utilizing them. The goal is not to generate revenue, but simply to cover the town's costs and ensure the program remains sustainable. To accomplish this, the town has begun implementation of charging station management software through Synergy.
Very difficult to say. but
Yep,
you did.
that sounds about right? The platform will make the stations visible through charging applications, track usage, and allow users to pay directly for charging services. I will say we've gotten calls from people that can't find our EV chargers on the apps, which is a problem. So if you need to charge and ours don't show up, that becomes an issue. And then it's confusing for folks because they think they're not working when the exception is they actually are just free, but they are working. But we think it is a better setup to have people who are using the electric chargers be the ones that pay. Staff is recommending that the town mirror the fee structure currently being used by the Village of Fairport, which is designed to cover operating expenses while encouraging turnover at charging stations. The structure includes a charging fee based on electricity usage, as well as a penalty fee for vehicles that remain plugged in after charging is complete and a grace period has expired. This makes it so people can't just park there forever and they have to move their car or letting somebody else charge. This is being presented more as an informal update, informational update, so the board has is aware and community is aware of the transition as this implementation moves forward. There's no board action, but if you have any questions about that, I'm happy to open that up.
This will be something I can also bring to the sustainability board. Just out of curiosity, do you know if any grants were sought after to replace the ones that had expired?
So this what we're doing tonight is just starting the service with the app. So we're not replacing any of the stations. When it is time to replace, we absolutely will look for grants for that because I think those are out there.
The power though itself was also being provided, correct?
Yes.
They were not being
So-
charged. So was that also part of the grant that we received, the power and the infrastructure, or?
No, the grants we received were solely for the units itself. We had to run the electricity and then paid for the electric.
So we as a town were paying for the electric.
That's correct. Yep.
Couple things I've learned a little bit from the village and them also going through this process. One thing that was very upsetting to residents was there was not quite enough, I think, information put out to the public. People who use these regularly count on being able to access that power free of charge. They got pretty accustomed to it. And were very surprised when they went to their plug in their vehicle. And obviously that wasn't the same.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we can send out too much information on this. It was a hot topic.
Yeah, so we haven't fully created the marketing plan, but we'll put signage at the units. We'll do stuff on social media. And I don't think we'll turn on this app and day one start charging. I think there will be some sort of 2 or 3 week period so we can educate it.
Anything that we can do to add information about the kilowatt per hour charge is in correlation to the power being charged in our community and also in close alignment with surrounding communities. I think adding that to the information would be great.
Yep, we will. And I just want to share that we spoke with the Village of Fairport at length about this. We decided to use the same software that they utilize because it makes it easier for our residents. And our residents aren't necessarily going to know if the town of Perinton administered charger or a Village of Fairport. So we're aligning all of our fees exactly with what they're doing.
I went to get my teeth cleaned at the dentist in the village and my hygienist was like, wait a minute, why are we charging? She was so upset while she was cleaning the teeth. But
that's a good point though, that we had to let people know.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Yeah. Ahead of time would be great instead of when they just show up. Yeah.
Yep.
So
We can do that.
yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
No, I had a couple of the same questions.
So do we have an idea of how much kilowatt since the implementation of these? Because it would be awesome for other people to get subsidized fuel for their vehicles.
Yeah,
We're not subsidizing
I
anybody's
know.
fuel.
Unfortunately, we really, just the way that we're billed by the electric company, Fairport Electric, we have no way to say how many kilowatt hours were being pushed towards those four electric
The
chargers.
chargers don't keep track. We don't have internal like
Not
timer
without
or
having,
odometer on them of how many kilowatt hours they've dispensed
to
so
my
far.
to my knowledge, not without having any app, we're not able to track that.
Okay.
So connecting to the app would be obviously helpful, and for this reason alone, I think also getting it out there so people know where they are. I think right now it's kind of like, if you know that they're there, you know that they're there.
Yeah, and we've talked a lot about Sustainability Advisory Board is having some baseline data. So this will give us that data of exactly who's using them, how often.
Yeah.
So the dashboard that they showed me is incredible. So there's a lot of
Great.
information that we're receiving from this as well.
Now, one other thing that I'd like to say to help protect these chargers is, will that app, or do we have like perhaps a towing company, or would that something that our director, our public safety department would be able to do to patrol when they notice if there is a non-electric vehicle that is parked there? Do we have a mechanism to tow, or could we write a ticket for same as parking in a handicap spot? Because I look at it the same way that if a gasoline car parks in one of those and blocks it for the use, that'd be the equivalent of, I mean, maybe not quite as detrimental, but if someone is counting on one of those chargers and they're at whatever the battery, 1% of your battery and it's blocked,
Yep.
is there a mechanism to report that to the app that we could contract?
We can talk about that. I think we can
I think
figure out
to
what.
protect those too.
Mm-hmm. It's a great
Keep them
point.
open for the users.
Great.
Thank you.
That was helpful, guys. Thanks. Okay, next we have a request from the finance director to authorize several amendments to the 2026 budget. These amendments support a number of initiatives that have previously been discussed and do not increase the overall budget. Instead, they are accomplished through reallocations within existing appropriations. The proposed amendments include additional funding for the community visioning, hamlet planning, and Route 96 corridor study, as well as the review of the Erie Canal Overlay District. The amendments also provide funding for the new full-time security supervisor position that was discussed earlier this evening. These increases would be offset by reductions within existing planning department budgets. The request also includes minor budget adjustments for the Fairmont Hills and Wisteria Grove Park districts to add projected maintenance costs associated with contracted services such as mowing, landscaping, and fertilization. Finally, the memo outlines a transition plan within the finance department. As part of that transition, Brian Dick is requesting appointment to the civil service position of project manager to assist with onboarding and supporting the newly appointed finance director, Matthew Ball, during a phased transition period. This change does not require any additional budget amendment and will be accommodated within existing appropriations. Are there any questions or comments for the board? Okay. If not, I will entertain a motion.
So moved.
Okay, Mishler and Stockman Broadbent, all in favor? Aye, and that carries. That brings us to the conclusion of our agenda items. I do not have an update this evening. I will open it up to the board for any other updates that you may have.
I just want to say thank you to everyone who helped with all the America 250 stuff this weekend. It was really fantastic and such a gift to the community. I think everybody had a really good time. So thank you.
Awesome for that.
I'd say I really enjoyed the parade, marching with everyone and our town staff, the banner carriers and our wagon pullers. Thank you. And special specific shout out to Melissa Martins for some of the logistic work behind the scenes, making sure we look good and had stuff to throw out. It's acknowledge that, but it was, and the rain held off for the perfect window for us. So
we lucked out.
Yeah. Thank you.
Melissa, any idea how many pounds of candy we threw?
And we didn't even have enough.
Yeah, that includes.
And I think the Mastersons might have a great idea for rationing the candy that I think maybe Dave will share later.
Okay, good.
I have just a quick announcement from the Sustainability Board. Our July 16th meeting at 7 p.m. The public is all welcome, and there's been a special invitation to the town board to be present for that meeting, and not,
Oh, great.
of course, like required or. But we are going to have a guest speaker. Her name is Rachel Scudder. She is with the Climate Smart Communities Coordinator
Fantastic. Okay.
for the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. And the intent of the session is to learn about the process of becoming a climate smart community for our town, and to prepare to bring more detailed information back to the town at possibly a workshop. But this is sort of the first step to figure all of that out.
I think that's great. What's the date of it again?
So it's Thursday, the 16th at 7 p.m.
Okay, great.
Is it in this room or 204?
I don't know if Chris, do we have a location yet for that?
It's in the community.
It's in the community center.
Oh,
It's not, it's not in here. We'll get it all set up for
And
everybody.
if you're not able to make that meeting, it's okay. We will be presenting in for, more detail
Okay.
at a later date, but you're welcome to come.
Oh, that's great.
Although I will not be there.
And I think she's a great resource.
Mike's going to be there in my place for that meeting.
Okay,
Okay.
great. Thank you for that.
Going to Saranac Lake.
Okay.
Okay.
Dave, anything? All right. I will open it up to public comment. Looks like we have a few folks. So if you are here, I'll call you up in a moment. If you're online, please hit the raise your hand button and Chris will unmute you when it's time. Come on up, Jenny. Go ahead. You're fine.
Thank you. Jenny Mayer, 51 Dewey Avenue in the Village. Before I speak a little bit about the Sustainability Advisory Board, which I'm very excited about, I just want to say one thing about EV charging. I certainly, as an EV owner myself, I do not object to paying for electrons to charge my vehicles. However, I would object to the idea that this is some sort of special subsidy for people who drive electric cars, if there's any sort of benefit to electric car drivers. And that is because I think we can think about electrification of cars as an essential investment in the future health, the current health and the future health of this community. So just like we pay for, I'm happy to pay for the lights over the tennis courts, which helps subsidize people. I don't play tennis, but I'm happy to subsidize people's investment in their future health. I think we should also think about these kinds of investments or these kinds of facilities as investments in the future. We want to encourage people to switch out of their gas vehicles into electric vehicles. So anything we can do to make that easier and not make it seem like it's elitist, I think would be welcome.
Absolutely.
But I just wanted to speak again, and I apologize if this is in any way overstepping the bounds. I haven't been following closely what's happening at the Sustainability Advisory Board, but I do know what happened at the last meeting, which was a little unfocused. So I just want to thank you again for reviving the Sustainability Advisory Board. I think you have a really impressive group of people with a range of expertise on issues that the town government can actually play a lead role in, and that they have a lot to offer. And I think that they're a resource to be tapped.
Yeah.
But I'm concerned that we don't follow the same pathway that the Sustainability Advisory Board followed in its last iteration, which was that there wasn't real clear direction from the board about what the Sustainability Advisory Board could be or should be doing. So I know one of the things is pursuing the Climate Smart Communities certification. But I also think there are larger things that the town faces that it would be helpful to have a set of expert eyes thinking about before you address it or as you address it. So one of these things, of course, is the zoning kinds of changes related to the seeker changes. But also that one thing that we haven't done as a community is sort of align ourselves with the climate goals of the state and the county. So both the state and the county have an emissions reduction goal of 80% or more reduction in fossil fuel emissions by 2050. That's only 24 years away. So we need to be thinking now about how we're going to make this kind of massive change in our emissions. And there are things that the town can do. One is to really think about these building projects that are coming up. I know I spoke to the board very recently about this relative to another project or one specific project that was being proposed in Bushnell's Basin. But if there are projects being proposed and you have any influence over them, you could be asking, I think, for them to be for them not to increase our subsidy to fossil gas. So they don't have natural gas service. They're all electric. They're providing EV chargers for their residents if they're a housing development or for their customers if they're a business. They have some investment in renewable energy, say geothermal and for heating or solar panels. And also, especially if they're receiving some kind of subsidy. Now, I just learned Friday that the project that is being built at Thornell Road in Bushnell's Basin, the Hartwell Heights, is it called, is now going to Comida to ask for tax incentives. So they are going to be, they've requested tax abatements. So this would be county tax, town tax, and school tax. They're in Pittsford schools for 10 years to help support their profits, basically. And that's for a market rate housing development. It seems like if they're going to be asking for these kinds of incentives, that we should be asking them to provide an environmental benefit to the community. Another one is investing in, so another thing that the town could be working on is investing in alternatives to car transportation. So by building bike lanes, but also promoting bus use. We're really lucky to have Route 50 go through our community. We could be capitalizing on that with some good planning. And that includes some zoning kinds of planning too. And the third is to help us manage the need to electrify. In order to get off of fossil fuels, we're going to have to use more electricity. This is going to pose some challenges, right? And we already hear from Fairport Electric. Fairport Electric now is encouraging people to switch to natural gas. This is not good climate policy. And given that most of the customers of Fairport Electric are in the town of Perinton, it feels like the town of Perinton should have somewhat of a voice in their management. I know they're controlled by the village, but we still should have some influence there, I would think. So anyway, there's just lots of confusing information about Fairport Electric and what we can do. When I think of Fairport Electric as our great advantage that should allow us to electrify more rapidly than any other community, we're actually putting the brakes on in a way that is somewhat upsetting or somewhat contrary to our goals as we put them in our sustainability or our comprehensive plan. So anyway, I guess that's really all I need to say. I think the Sustainability Advisory Board has the opportunity to provide advice and real deep research that the town board itself doesn't have the time for. You're doing lots of other things, and that could really help us move forward with sustainable approaches. But I think it requires the town board to give that direction to the Sustainability Advisory Board so they're not spinning their wheels and getting frustrated and dropping off the committee or whatever happens after a while. So that's all I have to say.
I'm just reflecting, if you don't mind, can I just ask a clarifying question?
Sure.
Are you referring to the meeting in May or are you referring to the meeting in June?
In June.
So the minutes for that haven't come out for the June minutes.
I don't want to insult the people that were there, but I think that and I, to be fair, I wasn't there.
What's that?
I'm working on, they're not done.
Yeah, no. Well, they will be done at the next meeting. Correct. Yeah, you didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to insult the current members of the board but I do think that it felt like based on the folks who were there from Color Fairport Green who who talked about their experience there, that it felt like there wasn't a clear mandate for what they should be doing. And that
And you were present for that meeting?
I was not
Okay,
present.
the color, okay, it
Yes.
was
Right.
just clarifying.
Right.
Okay.
So
That's your
yes,
the
this
message
is hearsay, but
The message is coming from you. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I understand. I was confused because I didn't see you there and I was wondering which, okay.
Right.
Thank you, Jenny.
Yeah.
Let's talk more.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Jenny. Yes, sir. Come on up.
My name is Gary Durr. I've lived in Perinton for 55 years. I want to congratulate you, Jen, the board, the directors, all of you on your level of professionalism and compassion for these two ladies that were sitting behind me. I retired from Xerox in 2003 and bought 10 acres of land in Vermont. And for the last 19 years, I've been there most of the time. And while I was there, I learned what deep trouble we're in with the climate. Humanity has never, ever faced a challenge as daunting as this one. And the only way that we can succeed and do our fair share, I don't want to worry about Binghamton. I don't want to worry about Syracuse. I want to be focused on Perinton and Fairport. Jenny has done an outstanding job with our 40 by 30 committee. I ran 2 energy committees in Vermont. Most towns in small town Vermont have energy committees. Only a couple of states have energy committees. And Jenny's group has done more in the 6 months I've done than I did in 10 years in Vermont. So we are a powerful organization. And we want to work with all of you on community solar, ground source solar, and make a difference. And I would like to request at this time, I meet with Jen at some future date and go through the details. I'm a book guy. I have a book on about any subject in the environment. Don't let me get loose. So thank you.
Oh, that'd be great.
Gary.
Thank you, Mr. Durr. We'll definitely get something set up so we can get together. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone online, Chris?
No, Mr. Supervisor.
Okay. I will close the public comment period. We do not have any matters of urgency for tonight. We will be going into executive session, so we will not adjourn. But I would like to move that we go into executive session to discuss ongoing litigation with counsel.
Do you want to ask Finley if she has anything?
Oh, I'm sorry. Finley, did you have any update? Okay. All right. Thanks.
So moved.
If I can
Oh, please.
introduce just a clarification, ongoing litigation with counsel and to seek advice of counsel on an attorney-client privilege matter.
Absolutely. What he said. Thank you.
Second.
Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay.